Alright guys, got my old hotshot truck here, 2001 450 with a 7.3. Got here with the valve covers and some stuff off. They've been working on it. She's got 3 cylinders that's dead on the passenger side and 1 on the driver's side. So we're gonna give that a shot and see. I kind of did a little investigating on this. Changed out the IDM with a spare that I had. That did not correct the situation. So we've got the PCM pulled, and we're going to check out the chip in the PCM. We got a spare PCM if we need it to swap out and see how that's going. If that doesn't fix the problem, because we're getting that 1316 IDM code, we're going to end up the injectors. I kind of did a quick ohm test through the 9-pin connectors on the valve cover gaskets, and it seemed to ohm good, but if we don't have a computer issue, we got a wiring issue. So evidently the IDM is not the problem, and sorry I didn't catch that on camera for y'all, but been getting jammed up over here with one project after the other, and sometimes things need to happen fast and then you can get them filmed. So let's get on this one and see what we can find out. Okay, let's see. 2001 Ford truck, Super Duty, 4x2 engine, PC ROM 7.3. Yeah, oh, back up. Nope, it is automatic. Okay, we're cool. Alright, let's go to diagnostic trouble codes and read current codes. Alright, we got the key on, so. Okay, turbo boost is because they took that sensor off. Exhaust back pressure is because they broke that sensor. And internal cam malfunction is because the batteries were undone. Alright, so we're going to clear current codes. Yes. Okay. Back up. And I want to go, well, while we're in there, I want to do a buzz test. Now, y'all might not be able to hear it, but you can watch it on the tack. So I'm going to get y'all set up right here where you can see. Alright, well, let's see. Alright, so we got 5, 4, and 1. And what we had on the other one was the same situation, except, I say on the other one, on the other test, we did cylinder contribution while it was running. So they're all buzzing, but they're not buzzing good. Now, they did ohm correctly, so it was a head-scratching situation. Let me see if she'll run, and we'll do a cylinder contribution test and see what that brings. Now, while the glow plugs are glowing, go into my custom data stream for engine PCM. So you can narrow data stream down on these scanners to just the ones you want. So we always watch injector control pressure, RPMs to make sure that the crank position sensor is working, vehicle amps to make sure that the power's right. Alright, let's try and see what she does. As you can see, she's not a happy camper. cylinder contribution test right now. I got her to fire up, but she sounds exactly the same on a different computer and a different IDM. So we're going to be into wiring or maybe injectors. Let's see what the cylinder contribution test comes up. See, 5, 4, 3, and 1. So with the exception of 3, the buzz test and cylinder contributions coming up funky. We may end up having to replace those. Alrighty, so I'm gonna try and get this in for the battery dies. Let's see. So I ohmed these out from the 9-pin while they were plugged into the injectors. Injectors were ohming at 3 to 3.1, which is in range, in spec, and the glow plugs were 0.6 or something like that, which is in spec. So what I'm going to do, the center pin on here is the common, which goes between each one of the injectors, which the injectors are your 2-wire plugs. So I'm going to turn this, maybe you guys can see it. So I have that there, and so that one's good on the common. Good. Oh, I'll pull my wire off. So you got 9 pins in here. So working from the center is a common, which in this case is the black. Okay. I'm gonna go to the left. You look in there and there's the 2 outside pins on the left and the right. Let me see if I can show you. The 2 outside pins on the left and right are bigger, and they go to these bigger white wires. That's glow plugs. So 1, 2 is these 2 glow plugs, and 3, 4 is these 2 glow plugs. Just in from that, the next 2 are the grounds for these 2. The center is the common, hot for all of them, and then the next 2 are these 2. So I just clamp on my little test lead. I do the common first because I can go through all of them and get that out the way. The rest of these can be one at a time. So this is the glow plug here. We're good. Next one over, just moving left, right, from left to right. That's good. I'll just stay on the glow plugs. I'm gonna skip all the way over to the second to last one. I can hear the tone and I can see it. So we got continuity. And then you can get the individuals, which will be your colored wires, on just to the left and right of that center pin. So anyhow, that's how I'm testing them, and both of these tested good. So I'm under the assumption that we're good through these to the injectors, because they ohmed through the 9-pin. I put a pigtail on here and ohmed through that, and these are checking out. Now granted, that's an ohm test and it could very well not carry the voltage, but you got to start somewhere. So we got these ohm tested, and what I'm going to do when I put them back on is I'm going to swap sides. And if there is a problem with these, then the 3 injectors on the passenger side that are not firing and the 1 on the driver's side should swap with that. If they stay on each side and everything is ohming out good, then it would appear that all the electronics to the solenoids and the solenoids themselves are good. So then we may have to change out some injectors, and that's on that old 2001 that we've been fooling with. I'll give you a better update on that, but I just wanted to show you guys how to check out these. Now on the Ford, this is a Dorman, so the wires are hardwired in. On the Ford, you've got this same plug on the back. I like the Dorman because it eliminates that. Some people are harping on Dormans. I've had them on 3 or 4 7.3s, never had any real issues. You do have to watch where they zip tie, that these wires don't get over the plastic to where when you put the valve cover on, you smash them. So once you get them all on, all your plugs in, before you put the valve covers on, take a minute and just tuck all these wires where they need to be so that you're not going to pinch anything, because that's where a lot of damage happens. You put brand new valve cover harnesses on and damage them inadvertently while you're putting the valve cover on. So a little more head scratching to get into it, but we'll see what we can find out. All right, this morning we're back on this 2000, trying to figure out why we got half our injectors not working. So both of these are ohm tested out. I put a little yellow zip tie on this one so I know this was the passenger or driver's side. So we're going to swap them, plug them in real quick, buzz test them, and if the problem switches sides, then we know what it is. If the problem doesn't switch sides, then we're thinking maybe we got an injector issue, so we'll have to get into that. So what I'm going to do, and the filming, I don't feel like running lights out here right now for quickie stuff. So we're just going to slap these valve covers in, plug them all in, glow plugs and everything, run a test on the scanner or possibly fire it up and see if it's still running like crap. And if that is, if the problem doesn't move, we're going to pop out some of these injectors that are testing bad and swap them with some other ones and do a test that way. See if we can nail down what's what before we just start throwing parts at it. Alright, we're getting ready to do a buzz test. I just did one, but I wanted to show y'all something. I did not have the master plug over the valve cover hooked up, and when I did a buzz test, and I'm going to show you the tack. So the tack goes off for buzzing. It should go off 9 times. One buzzes all 8 cylinders, and then 1 through 8 numerically after that. But so while that's doing, I wanted to show y'all, because I just figured this out myself. So the master plug right here I had unhooked, and I accidentally did a buzz test and nothing was connected to any injectors because this master plug was off, but the tack still operated the same way. So that tells me that the only thing the tack is really telling you is that the PCM is sending the buzz signal out, and even if you don't have anything on the motor plugged in, the tack is still moving. So you still have to audibly read the tack, and then of course, you know, scan it. I don't know if you guys can make it out. Now the first 2 is high side. I don't have any glow plugs hooked up, so that's what the bank 1, bank 2 is. And then 5, 4, and 1 are still giving us trouble. And just so you understand what I mean by audibly, let me back out of this. I'm gonna go back to inject a buzz test, and pardon the scream, but I'm gonna haul ass under the hood so you guys can hear. So you want to hear good, sharp, loud excuse me, buzzes. And you know, if they're muffled or they sound like they're, you know, like you're hearing it from under a towel or under a blanket, that's a good sign that you're going to have an issue. So we come up with the same things. 5, 4, and 1 are not buzz testing correctly. So anyway, that's a little information on the buzz test. Let's move on. Alright, so we're going to do a buzz test. All the wiring is ohming out, so we swapped 3 of the injectors that were testing bad, 1, 4, and 5, with injectors that we had that should be good. So we're going to buzz test them. Alrighty, let's see. Test passed. Alright, cool. So let's get out of this. We're going to go to clear codes. Yes. And then we're going to back up. We're going to go to custom data stream, engine data, view data. Alright. Now, let's cycle the key. Let the glow plugs get it, and we're going to see if she's in a better mood. Usually you got to remember that you opened up the oil galleys. I'm trying to not block y'all's view. Let me get back on this side. So watch that top number. That's what we're looking for. When it starts to climb, there we go. Now you can see out the window, she's smoking a little bit, but she will till she burps this air out. Now that's sounding a little better. We still got a mess to clean up, but at least she's running good. I'm gonna let her run for a minute, warm up, and we're gonna check that cylinder 3 that was kicking up and see if we need to change that one. Or you should be, just FYI, injector control pressure normal is upper 4s to low 500s when it's warm, but it'll be upper 6s to low 7s when it's cold. Alright, a little concerned about this charging, but the batteries are down a little bit. Alright, let me dig into this and let her warm up. Back on the 01 this morning, we got valve covers back on, got her running. I think we still have some air trapped in the oil galleys because it's running a little funky. We'll fire the old girl up and run on high idle for a little while and see if we can't burp those oil galleys a little better. And I got to hunt up some sensors and a few other things. Okay, we got the valve covers back on. Swapped the injectors with the ones out of the parts truck and did all the wiring as far as the 9 pins go. I still got to solder one. I got everything kind of buttoned up to where we're all proof, to where we can fire it up and give it a little test run. And they usually, once you open in any of the oil galley areas up, it's usually gonna be something where you're gonna see a lot of funky running. And that's just that high pressure oil trying to burp itself. So there's the high pressure oil on the top. Let's see what she does. There we go. Once she builds past 500, she's gonna run. And she seems to be running pretty smooth. Well, I think the wiring and the injectors fixed that problem. We do have a 9 pin that we're going to have to solder. The little safety catch broke on that. I'll show you guys that. But I think we got it nipped in the bud as far as the main running thing. And I don't know if you can notice some extra holes up there around the spider. That's just heater hose loop I made because the heater hose was broke off at the nipple on the firewall. So I just made a loop to run it while I get the whole part coming in. Alright. So let me get the rest of what I need to button this up and we'll go from there. Alright, so we got the 9 pin, as you can see back there on top of the valve cover, the new plug put in and loomed up and soldered. I didn't think y'all would want to sit there and watch the exciting, thrilling adventure of soldering wires. So we got that done, got our 42 pin plug back on, and we're getting ready to test run her before we put all the turbo piping on. What I wanted to show you guys first, and let me get set up right here, move a few things out the way. So I can do a video on ohming the injectors, under the valve cover harness. I'm gonna see if I can get in on this, and if you guys can snapshot that on your phone where you can zoom it in, get a snapshot of this little procedure I did, and then I'm going to get in on this. So this is the pin out from the electrical wiring diagram from Ford of the IDM plug. Okay, so you can see the little clip right here, which is indicated by the top. Okay, and you can see in there which connectors are used. They're not using all of them. Okay, what we're going to do is the fuel injection commons is 23 and 24. So if you start with 1 right here and count over, that's going to be 14 on that row. The middle row is going to be up to 26, and we don't really use anything in the top. So 23 and 24 are going to be your commons. 26 is going to be a ground wire, which is the loose wire, I believe, in the loom, in case something shorts out. And then all the rest of these are just, I hope it's not too shaky, or just the actual injectors. So you're going to go from a common. So what I did is I got it highlighted in green and yellow. So green is the left bank, and the driver's side bank, the right bank, is yellow. So if you're doing yellow, you're going to go to the 24 common, and then from that you'll hold one of your leads on the ohm tester there, and then you'll go to 6, which is fuel injection number 1. 3 is pin number 21. 5 is pin number 8, and 7 is pin number 20. Okay, so you'll hold one of your leads on 24, and you'll go 24 to 8, 24 to 20, 24 to 6, 20, one at a time. And again, as you can see on the paper, if I remember this right, I pulled it off of the internet, but 2.8 to 3.6 ohms is good for the injectors, and so that'll get you set up. And this is just telling you how to pin test it out, but that's basically what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to set up my own meter, and we're going to do it on the IDM. Now this will check your wiring from the IDM plug all the way through the engine harness, through the under the valve cover harness to the injectors. And if that spec ohms out in spec, then electrically you should be good. It could be a mechanical issue with the injectors. Rare occasion you could have something short out to where you know, you don't have it'll ohm test, but it won't carry a load. So let's get this set up and get it done. Okay, hopefully you guys can make this out. I'm going to call out the numbers, but again, as I did on this printout, which you can back up and see, we're going to be using 23 and 24 as our commons. So if you're on 24, you're going to go 24 to each one of the yellow, and that'll ohm out all of your right hand side. And then you use 23 as your common and go to each one of the greens, and that's making a loop from the common all the way down through the harness, through the under the valve cover harness, through the injector coil or solenoid, and then all the way back to this plug. So let's see, we're gonna go, I'm gonna do we'll do the left bank first. So I'm gonna go to pin 23, and then pin, so I'm on 23 with the black, and I'm gonna go to pin 22 right next to it, and it's ohming out at 3.0, and that's within specs, which should be between 2.8 and 3.6. all right, next one is going to be pin 7 for cylinder 4. So we come up here, pin 7 right there, and that's 3.1. okay, pin number 19, 3.1 as well. Pin number 9, 3.1. So all that driver side bank that we just soldered up tests good. So I'm going to jump over to 14 and 24, and we're going to start that side. So pin number 6, which is right here, 3.2. Pin number 21. 21 is just on the other side of the bolt. 3.2. all right, pin number 8, 3.2, and pin number 20, is 32. Now another thing you can check too to see if you have any grounds is pin number 26 out here is a ground. So what we can do is we can do our commons to pin 26, and pin number 18 is a shield wire, which is that embedded wire in the loom. So we'll check those out. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up on pin 23. All right, right there. And then we're going to go to 26, and it's open, so we're good there. And then we're going to go pin 24 to 26. That's open, so there's no ground there. All right, and then 18 is right here. That's open. 18 to 24 and 18 to 23. So we're just taking our commons and we're going to this ground, and then our commons, and going to 18, which is a shield, to make sure that nothing is shorted out. And if that all tests out, then all this wiring should be good. If that checks out and you still have a problem, it's probably going to be injectors or the actual IDM itself, possibly on a rare occasion the PCM. If anybody needs any more of this information, hit me up in the comment section. And if y'all have any tips and tricks on how to do that, we can do that as well. And I may go ahead and throw in a video when I get done with this truck to show you how to ohm out the valve cover harness. But without opening the valve covers and without having to pull the 9-pin and put a pigtail on it, you can pop this inner fender out, which is a bit of a bitch, but you can get it out and you can check this, and that's going through all your wiring harness and the under the valve cover harnesses. So it's a way to check them without having to start pulling everything on the engine, and kind of eliminate and maybe save you a little bit of time. Alrighty, that's checking that out. And like I said, if that's not it, could be this bad boy, which is the IDM, which sits right underneath this Ford badge right here, like this, and that plugs right into it. Just be real gentle when you plug these in, and make sure that you're soft-handed to make sure that you don't bend any of the prongs. You know, you always want to inspect all of your prongs here. I don't know if that's going to come in focus, but to make sure nothing's bent, nothing's burnt, corroded. And then gently get this plugged in, start the 10 mil, and then when you walk this 10 mil bolt in, it'll seat the plug for you, and you just really have to snug it. Don't get crazy with it, or it'll end up breaking the nut off and you'll have some trouble there. All right, that's checking the wiring from the IDM. Move on to the next thing. All right, we got our IDM plug back in. This is our custom data stream. I'm gonna watch this top category right here, which is the IPR pressure. Let's see if she sounds or how she feels. She's going to come on back down to about 500-600 probably. She's still cold. All of our numbers are looking good, so I'm always checking IPR pressure, engine oil temp. RPMs will tell you whether you have crank position sensor issues. Turbo weight, exhaust back pressure, let's see. That's going to be our manifold gauge pressures too, so we know that our sensor we plugged in there is working. Volts is charging. And she looks like she's feeling better. Sounding like a 7.3 supposed to sound. They sound a lot better running on 8 cylinders instead of 4. Well, I got some turbo plumbing to put on and a test ride to do, and this one will be wrapped up and we'll be on to the next project. also want to go back. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I did notice a code triggered. We had a couple of codes. Of course, anytime you unhook batteries, you're going to get a CAM memory code. Let's see, diagnostic trouble codes, read codes, current codes. So CAM memory, keep alive memory, that's just the, you can see it right there, P603. That is just because the batteries were unhooked and it just noticed that, you know, the computer was down. Exhaust back pressure control valve malfunction. Somebody working on this truck before me broke off the female plug on the front of the turbo pedestal, so there's no connection to plug in to the front of the turbo pedestal, so that's going to stay that way until they decide what they want to do with it. But we got rid of all of our injector high to low side codes and IDM codes and all of that, so we're looking good. Alright, well, I think that's about it for the 01. We got a possible oil change to do, and we got to figure out what they want to do about the master cylinder. I think the master cylinder is going out. But that's it for the 01 for now, so we're going to move on to the next one. See y'all on the next project.